Damien has made a living as a newspaper delivery boy, lawn cutter, sandwich artist, greenhouse attendant, actor, improviser, customer service trainer, wedding videographer, game show host, motion graphic designer, and as a partner in a Chicago startup that burned through $1 million. He also enjoys reading.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, hi.
Recently, my friend Kathleen and I decided as a way to strengthen our friendship, we would write book reports for each other on each other's favorite book. I'm a big Ray Bradbury fan, so I asked her to write a report on his critically acclaimed, award-winning, seminal masterpiece, Fahrenheit 451. She told me I had to write about Twilight. Now, I'm a glass is half full kind of guy. I want to put a positive spin on everything. I think it's important to stay positive in life and find the positive wherever you can find it. So I present to you my positive book report on Stephenie Meyer's Twilight. I appreciate that Twilight is presented in book form. Lately, I have a fondness for actual books. It has a cover on which is printed a title. I can hold it and turn its pages and feel its weight and appreciate its bookness. For the first several pages, there are no overt references to vampires, which I appreciate. It's like the teenage narrator is really writing the story because even though you and I know there are going to be vampires, she doesn't. And if I knew there were going to be vampires, I wouldn't write about anything other than how they were going to be vampires. I think that's a great example of verisimilitude. I had a hard time remembering the teenage narrator's name. At first, I kept calling her Charlie's daughter because Charlie is her dad. And he seems like a nice guy. Then I realized that the teenage narrator isn't really a teenager. I figured that one out after looking at the author photo on the inside back cover. First-time authors often write themselves in as the main character, so to help reduce any confusion, I'll call the teenage narrator by her real name, Stephenie. Early on, Stephenie alludes that there will be vampires. She tries to pump up her resolve on the first day of school by reminding herself that no one is going to bite me. She has no idea how ironic that is. And yes, it's actually ironic. Color me impressed. In a scene where Stephenie and Edward perform an experiment with microbes in their high school biology lab, things get a little sexually tense, which is great. I mean, kids need to learn about science more, and sex is a great way to do it. There's an accident involving a van where Stephenie gets her first inkling that Edward might have magical powers beyond the ability to make young women's inhibitions disappear. I appreciate that the accident was a result of a loss of control on a snowy surface. It highlights that portraying teenage drivers as simply careless sends the wrong kind of signal to today's youth. The real lesson is that driving is serious business and that there won't always be a vampire around to save you. I appreciate that Stephenie uses quaint epithets like holy crow. I use epithets like Great Caesar's ghost and crimey and that's bullshit. While not all of my epithets are as quaint as those used by Stephenie, they are a similar reminder that people have been swearing in creative ways for many, many years. History buffs? I appreciate that Stephenie is addressing the plight of the Native Americans by revealing their ability to turn into werewolves. Perhaps now that we are all aware that Native Americans can hunt us down and rip out our throats with their dagger-like teeth, we will stop treating them like second-class citizens. And that by conserving the natural habitat of the werewolf, foggy forests, rocky escarpments silhouetted by the light of a full moon, and occasionally living rooms, by conserving these spaces, we make the world a better place for all animals. The chapter where Stephanie shops with her friends in Port Angeles made me appreciate that I am not compelled to spend a third of my annual income on dresses and shoes. It's a relief knowing that it's acceptable for me to wear the same outfit to the grocery store, work, to the bar, or a wedding on the beach. All right, moving on. Later, Edward tells Stephanie that he tried to stay away from her at first because the scent of her blood was too desirable to him. Over time, Edward and Stephanie fall in love, and I'm glad they do, because it reinforces the fact that it's what's on the inside that really counts. After Edward and Stephanie fall in love, there's a big fight in a dance studio. It's both terrifying and beautiful. Like The Expendables meets Black Swan. Or maybe it's more like Black Swan meets The Expendables, I don't know. The author could have chosen something bigger or more dramatic or more visually interesting, like an abandoned mansion or the Grand Canyon or anything, really. But she didn't. She chose an old dance studio because girls like dancing. Hey, so you think you can dance is one of my favorite shows. Really. In conclusion, as you can see, there are positive aspects to Stephanie Meyer's book, Twilight. No need to explore on your own, though, as I believe I've addressed them all here tonight. Now, I feel confident, perhaps even overconfident in my abilities. Like maybe I could write a book or something. I won't be reading any more of her work, but I am looking for other books to write reports about. So if you have any suggestions, talk to me afterwards. Thank you very much.
I feel like that's a great place to end it. Yeah, I will accept that. We have stuck the landing. Can I please have one more round of applause for all of your district I love it. You tell interesting people to do something, right? And you just get such a fun mix of like the silly mixed with the serious, and it all squishes together, and it's so cool.